So, welcome back in my identity series. I want to talk about you today. You've achieved everything you wanted. You actually can look back to a business who runs on its own. It works for you and not the other way around. And eventually, you even had an exit. You sold it. But yet there is a tension that won't go away. A certain feeling. It's like you thought success would feel different than this. And you probably ask yourself all the questions like, what now? Or do you have a purpose? What is your purpose? And all these things, right? So I've generated over 3 million in revenue in the last 8 years. It's not like all the marketers out there, but it's also not nothing, right? So I've built multiple businesses and projects from scratch and developed methods that combines deep human perception with sharp strategy and AI. I don't coach, even my profession is called coach. I mirror. I show you the chapter you can't see from inside the frame. So in this video, we talk about the free expansion archetypes, and which one could keeping you stuck and what you actually needs now to move forward. But let's face it, you built something real. You built something valuable. Business is running so good. You worked hard. So now you actually realize it's not my baby anymore, right? It's like the baby is grown up and going on its own. And it doesn't need you anymore. It doesn't need you anymore. And this is okay. Even when you feel stuck or lonely, like sometimes probably like naked, or that you don't feel understood from others or your environment anymore, or you feel like clueless or whatever. If you want to share it, use the comments below. I would love to hear that. Whatever it is, I invite you not to judge about that, not to want to get rid about this phase of your life. Why? Because this is a really important phase for you. It's a phase, I call it like one of the most important phases in our lives, because you can really trust that you would not be there if it's not meant for you and if it's not really meaningful. What now is developing inside of you, and it's actually a state where your soul wants to speak to you. It's a state about a very important next chapter. And this chapter is not the mission. It's only the first step, or let's say the first 10 steps of the mission. And you probably ask yourself, what is he talking? What is she talking about, right? A mission? What? But the crazy thing is when we are in such a state and we ignore it, or we really treat ourselves in a hard way, that we judge about ourselves, that we think something is wrong with ourselves, this will keep building a kingdom which is no longer yours. It will keep you connected to the old version of you, which actually created the thing you just sold, or which is now working for you if you did not sell it, right? So you become like a prisoner of your own success if you create a meaning or a judgment about this state. And then you literally identify yourself based on your past success. But you are not here if you would not do personal development since years, right? So you know it's always about this identification, about this piece of ourself which is literally developing. And it's not the old stuff bringing you to new results. We know that, right? We know it. So the longer you wait to accept this state, even if it feels so incredible, not good, right? The longer you wait, or the longer you nurture a judgment or a meaning about yourself, or even if you would do a smaller game, playing a smaller game, or think it's about being more modest or going back to the roots or whatever, don't do that. Don't go there, because it would actually make the gap bigger, the gap between what you've already built and the next chapter, which is waiting for you. So what you actually are searching for right now is not only a new project or a new business. And let's face it, you would love to have again a business, a scalable business, or an investment with a return on investment, with a ROI which just makes you happy, right? But if you just would do another thing like that, you would not find your peace. You would not, probably a few days, right? And then it's like blowing away, and you ask yourself again the same questions like now. So you know, when you are really honest with yourself and going deeper here and beginning to feel the feelings and accept the state, you actually know it's more than a business waiting for you. And that you would really love to build something sustainable based on your meaningful life, based on your soul purpose, based on whatever is meant for you as this enlightened soul having this human experience. So what about if you can have both? Because trust me, when you are fascinated about scaling businesses and creating ROI, it's always meant for you, whatever you would touch. And it's also meant for you with your next chapter aligned with your soul purpose. So don't just go in another project. Don't just go in another business. Allow yourself to go deeper, to feel all the things you feel now. Allow yourself to expand your awareness about this state, which I know, I feel you. It's not a good feeling, right? It's literally like, I mean, some they say it's like freezing, it's like stucking, and it's not stopping, and sometimes for weeks, months, or even years. But you know what? You must need to know something. You must need to sit and to ask yourself, what is there what your soul wants to express through you? What else? Even if you thought until yesterday you built a soul business already, and probably you could think by accident, we only have one soul business in our life. It's not true, right? Whatever your next mission is, you could actually ask yourself, what is meant for me as a next chapter? What could actually nurturing not only a new, really successful business, but also your true life path? What could be the main reason why you are here in this life? Especially when you realize that you really want to create impact. So there are 3 archetypes. I once got them from Spirit World. It's years ago. I also wrote a book. They gave me the book like it was an automatic rating. And these 3 archetypes, I always work with them with my VIP clients, and I want to tell you a little bit about them. They help us in these stages where we feel literally like stuck or freezed, whatever the reason is. So the 3 archetypes are, and I now take the female version of this, it's actually also for the male. So the sovereign, like the queen, is the first, the warrior, and the magician. And each one has its blind spots. Each one has some areas which are literally not developed. And there are specific signs in the daily life where we can realize that it is something like this part nurturing now, that you're accidentally feeding such a part. But there are also the developed part, the nurtured part of the whole archetype. So the first is the sovereign. I just explain you some. I cannot explain the whole thing. It's not enough time today for that. But the sovereign, the queen, is in the shadow part where she is not really developed. She literally gets a kingdom to lead, but she doesn't know how. She gets authority and power, but she is actually afraid to use power or to stand in her authority. She cannot have communication or conversations which are actually, yes, conflict potential or criticizing or demanding something. The developed part of the queen, of the sovereign, is she is at home, she is in her center, she owns her power, she feels the calling of the authority of her potential. She can own her kingdom and build it up and scale it. You know, the kingdom is the soul business or the soul businesses. And she can do that from a place of a really sovereign state, like being in her center and activating a wise part and being curious to connect with the people in her kingdom and to learn from them and to give them jobs which are actually activating them also in their highest potential. The second archetype, the warrior, is actually not about fighting. A lot of people get that wrong. Even though the warrior is one of the best fighters, she can literally fight in her sleep and would win the fight. She knows how to live in the woods. She knows how to live with animals, wild animals, communicate with them. She knows how to perceive with her clear senses. And the not developed part is that she is always in a fight, even in communications. She is always discussing and wants to be right and wants to prove things. But the developed part of the warrior is she is so secure and so safe and so on her place in her center, aware of her clear senses and the custom blend of it, trusting them and the signs and the indicators of them, so that, let's say, she would dream, she would get predictable dreams, she will really trust them and act accordingly. She's so in her center and so relieving and not relieving, experiencing the warrior, that she is not about the fight. She is actually about the peace. She's actually about freedom. She's actually about connecting people and situations and creating consensus. So the third archetype is the one of the magician. And this is actually also an archetype which most of the people get wrong, because they have some idea about magician, and it's not about magic, even if sometimes things are happening and we feel like magic. But it's not about that. It's actually about clear, grounded connection to Mother Earth and to her soul and God. Connection to nature, laws of nature and universe. A blind and also like little in her sleep connection with her unique blend of clear senses, her spiritual gifts. But more than that, sometimes I just get this picture, like a wise person on a mountain, sitting there, probably in a temple, and people wants to visit her for good advice. sometimes I get this picture when I think about the magician. But the magician is actually from a not developed part, realizing, oh, I have this psychic senses, I have this intuition, I have this expanded awareness, but I actually don't know how to use it. Or when I use it, I actually don't know what happens, what really happens. Or it gets an invitation to develop a country, to develop a kingdom or more, several kingdoms, or to lead and to conduct a queen, a sovereign, or also a warrior. But the non-developed part of the magician is just overhand with that, is literally asking, why me? Is literally asking, okay, I feel I could do that, but how? And sometimes she is literally feeling it's like calling her, like the soul is calling and it's like a mission, but she's not on her place yet. And then she is people pleasing. She is also in a place, on a place, wants to prove something. But the developed part of the magician is literally educating her clients, educating people doing the magician part too, having a wider perception, a wider seeing, a viewing of things, not judging about that, not thinking just because she perceives something, she must act now, but she can literally take a higher knowing, a bigger, a deeper knowing, not because she has to act or to do something, but only to train to know more. When we get the magician in business context, it's often about expanding, scaling, creating net worth, creating an offer suite which is nurturing each other, and clients can buy the things on their own. It's often about scaling and building teams from the pool of her clients, not from outside. And it's not about to scale and expand fast, but step by step, from like with the laws of nature. It's about realizing that we have this grow, but always up and downs. It's about being just wiser and going with this invitation to expand and to scale the business, but using law of nature. Having the second archetype in context of business, which is the warrior, it's often the invitation to learn next level in communication, to learn to criticize without hurting, to learn to demand things without overwhelming people, without blaming them, or without being on a pedestal when we demand things. It's about activating their visions and own desires to do the things in our missions, and to learn that they learn how to self-regulate themselves. Having the queen, the sovereign, in the business context is actually the invitation from our soul to realize we build a kingdom. And the kingdom is not only a business, it's literally, I see it actually here in Dubai, all right? Dubai, or the UAE itself, with several states, they lead the states like a company. It's high level leadership and high level values, which are very, they live them. They not only preach them, they really live them. It's very impressive. I learned so much here when I live here in Dubai. So it's literally like that. When you get a sovereign in business context, you are invited to come to your home, to your center, and to expand your awareness and to really own your authority and to learn to deal with the power and to get to know how to influence people to get them with your mission if they are meant to be, but not to manipulate them. If you want to know the difference, go back to the other videos in this series. I explained it. So these are the three archetypes. And if you realize, okay, I am curious now, I feel, I find myself in this gap between the last success and the next chapter. And I really want to know which of these archetypes are on which setup now and what would improve my next steps the most. Then please write in the comments that you want to have my new quiz. It's a little quiz, a diagnostic quiz. Just write in the comments diagnostic, and I will provide you with the link to the new quiz. After that, it's about 7 minutes only. After that, you actually know which is your archetype at the moment, what are the topics to work on, and also how to find out what your next chapter really is. Because something you must know, it's your soul literally screaming now, and it's not about suffering. It's about realizing this is also meant for you. It's a very beautiful state of creating and sculpting and adjusting, but it's really also about learning what is meant for you and not how to get rid of this state very fast, right? So don't forget to follow my channel and please share the video if you think it could help others. I would love to get to know you in the comments, and don't forget to come by for the next video again. Thank you so much.